guys. My name is Michael Vendetta. I'm the director of the World Affairs Council of Western Michigan. We're a small nonprofit that does global education. We do about 40 programs a year, and what we're trying to do is educate the people of our area about the world, about all the different countries of the world, about their people, about their politics, about their culture. We believe that to succeed in the world, you first have to know the world. And if you're curious about what we do, you go to worldmichigan.org, and there are a lot of programs there for you to take advantage of, and you're welcome to all of them. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes about immigration. It's a subject that gets a lot of attention in our country these days, and it's a bit misunderstood. I want to tell you two immigration stories. One is very close to me because it's my mother. My mother, Afina, was born in the Netherlands, in Holland. That is up in Europe, up in the top part of Europe right here. Here's the US, here's Europe, across the Atlantic Ocean. And when my mom was just a couple years old, her parents decided to take the long boat ride, there were no planes then for them to use, over to America. Why did they decide to immigrate to America? Why did my grandparents want to leave the Netherlands? Well, they did so because they thought that while they had pretty good jobs and they had a nice standard of living, they weren't really sure that was going to be the case for their children or their grandchildren, future generations. So even though it would be very hard for them to leave the country that they knew, the language that they knew, the family that they knew, and come to a brand new land, America, they did this at great sacrifice to themselves for those who would come after them. They also had some feeling that things were not quite right in Europe. And those of you who know your history know that if this was in the late 20s, 1928, 1929, that pretty soon after that, World War II started. So they were pretty aware of that. They came to the United States over a boat, came to Hoboken, New Jersey, and then to Chicago, where they settled. And they never got a chance to see their family members again back in the Netherlands because people didn't travel as easily back then as they do now. What a sacrifice. They didn't know the language, they didn't have jobs, but they learned all of that. And my grandfather became a tailor, he fixed people's clothes, and he raised 4 children, he and my grandmother. And my mom, who grew up in the Chicago area, had a family soon of her own. And then she eventually had 5 children. She had 26 grandchildren, 46 great-grandchildren, and even now 4 great-great-grands. What a legacy. All because my grandparents wanted to have a better life for her and her brothers and sisters. Let me tell you another immigration story, a little different. My friends Jack and Rosetta Habari. They grew up in the Democratic Republic of the Congo in the southern part of Africa right here. And they had a great family life too. They knew the language, they knew their family, they had good jobs. Jack was a pharmacist. He made sure that people who needed medication got their prescriptions. But the Democratic Republic of the Congo has had a lot of difficulty, a lot of strife, a lot of war, a lot of civil war. And pretty soon, Jack and Rosetta's families got caught up in it. In fact, their families were on different sides of these conflicts. And pretty soon, their hometown became a very, very dangerous place to live. In fact, Jack and Rosetta both suffered injuries because of armed conflict there. So very sadly, they had to leave. They had to flee for their lives. And they did. They went to another African country, Malawi, and then to a third, South Africa, hoping for the chance to come to America because they heard such great things about opportunities in the U.S. 7 years they had to wait in a refugee camp. During that time, they had their first 2 children. They had their kids, Jessica and William, and they started to learn English, and they worked very hard at it. They already knew 2 languages. They knew Swahili, they knew French, because many people in Africa speak French, but yet they learned a third language. They worked hard. And eventually, in 2018, they came to America, sponsored by Bethany Christian Services, a great nonprofit that helps people all over the world, and a local church that agreed to support them. Since then, the Habaris have done amazingly well. From a very cold December day when they got to Grand Rapids for the first time, they had never been anywhere that was nearly as cold. It was snowing. They had never seen snow. But yet, they survived all of that kind of thing. And Jack is now studying to be a pharmacist here in America. Rosetta works in healthcare. And the kids go to school. And they've had another son, Jackson. They are amazing people who've worked very hard and are so glad to be in the U.S. And that's what I wanted to leave with you. People come to America from all these places in the world for many different reasons. You may not know the reason. And why don't you show some curiosity about that? Ask people about that. Find out how your own family came to America. You'll be surprised at some of the stories. Some people came simply because they wanted a better economic opportunity. Others came because of war and conflict. They had to come. So my mom's parents came for some of the first part of the reason, economics. They thought it might be better to be in America long term. Habaris, they came because they had to fear for their lives. There are so many reasons. Some come from religious or political persecution. The religion they happen to practice or the political party they happen to belong to is out of favor in their country, and they have to leave or be jailed or maybe even worse, hurt or killed. But America has always been a place that has been welcoming, and we are a better country for it. There's a new study that was just done about Kent County, right where we live, that new Americans, people who have just immigrated to the U.S. not all that long ago, contributed $3.3 billion to our economy. They paid $214 million in federal taxes and over $100 million in state and local taxes. They have made us a better and more prosperous part of the country. It is something to celebrate, to have many cultures, and they bring such delight. We all come from different places, so we have different food, different culture, different music, different ways of being, and we can all learn and delight from one another. So immigration is a very important topic, and I urge you to show curiosity about those around you. How did they come to America? What is their family story? What's your family story? And how together do we contribute to make a better America, a better Kent County, a better Grand Rapids? Thanks for listening, and best wishes in your studies.